What is up, guys? Speed here, and today I'm bringing you the top 5 safe laners with the strongest late game. Now, I understand this is subjective, right? It's a little bit of opinion based, some of it's based in fact, but overall what I want to say is that this list will help out any new safe lane players looking to understand what heroes are the best in the later stages of the game, and for any Dota players who maybe are a little bit unsure of whether or not they should be trying to end the game or delay the game, right? If you see these heroes on the enemy team, you should be trying to end the game. If they're on your team, you might want to delay it a little bit and defend towers. So let's get into it. Top 5 heroes with the strongest late game that come from the safe lane. So coming in at number 5 is Troll. Now, the first thing I want to say about Troll is that he has a fantastic early game. Now, the reason why he has such a strong late game is based around his ultimate and his talents. So Troll's ultimate, Battle Trance, is fantastic. It is a 6.5 second duration ultimate that gives you bonus attack speed, movement speed, and lifesteal, as well as prevents you from dying. So the strength of this ability is when Troll Warlord has a lot of items, because if Troll doesn't have items, he's gonna get kited. You've probably seen a ton of Troll Warlords within your game just get kited because they only have phase boots and a few Wraith bands. They click ult and they can't kill anyone. But Troll in the late game has no problem shredding through opponents when he hits his Sanjin Yasha Satanic Timing, a Scotty, a Butterfly, whatever late game item it is, or if it's BKB, these items allow his ultimate to be absurdly effective. In addition, the Whirling Axis melee mischance scales throughout any stage of the game, right? Because as BKBs get shorter and shorter into the late game, the blind, which is a 5 second duration, gets better and better. So in the late game, this is even more potent. In addition, late game mana potential is very crucial, right? A lot of heroes can't man up to the prowess of a mid laner such as Medusa, who I've left out of this list because I consider him more so of a mid laner, but can't man up to the prowess of a hero such as Medusa. But Troll does have potential to do that, and that's why he's up there. In addition, his talents being 10 agility, max fervor stacks if you really want to scale, but more so Whirling Axis damage, 40 damage, which is a fantastic scaling ability, and then a strong Dispel, all allows you to become stronger and stronger as the games go on. These talents are great for scaling and really amp your DPS as the game goes later and later. So yeah, if you see a Troll Warlord on your team, you can try to play with him in the early game. His spells do quite a bit of damage, and you can bait some things with your ultimate, but do consider that this hero has a fantastic late game, especially when he gets a BKB plus a few DPS items. Moving on to number 4, we have Warden. Now, you could make the argument that Warden is similar to Medusa, where it's more so a mid laner, but players like Arteezy definitely show us that Warden can be just as much of a safe laner as long as your support is giving you plenty of levels. So why is Warden so good in the late game? Well, it's pretty straightforward in the regard that you make 2 of yourselves, so any of your items that you build are doubled. Stalling as this hero is the name of the game. If you have an Warden on your team, you don't necessarily want to force objectives. He gets punished very easily. He basically has no way to disengage in the early game, so having Warden take early game fights can often get him killed and crush that potential late game timing that you have on this hero. So keep that in mind if you're playing with Warden. You have a great late game hero, so you want to defend towers and make space. In addition, Warden is one of the best high ground defenders or tower defenders in the entire game. Spark Wraith being only a 4 second cooldown allows you to easily drag creep waves, harass enemy heroes trying a siege, or just kill the creep wave so that backdoor protection eventually goes up. And the last thing I want to mention is that Magnetic Field, Warden's second ability, gives him a bubble, and it works on towers, so it gives them a 100% evasion bonus. So basically, if there's no one inside the bubble, they cannot hit the towers. You can stall basically infinitely, as the duration goes up to 6.5 seconds, and you get 2 of them. So keep this in mind. When you have an Warden, you want to drag out the game and allow him to split push with his clones. Coming in at number 3 is Morphling. Well, Morphling is so strong for a few reasons, right? You naturally have your attribute shift, which allows you to man fight almost better than any other hero because you can really mess with HP and people's perception of your HP, right? You can have a lot of damage to start the fight and burst the support in the matter of seconds, and then also start attribute shifting to strength so that you can stun any sort of scaling core, right? If there's a Troll Warlord on you, you can simply just stun him off you. Same thing for Sven, a Medusa. You have so many options. That's the crazy thing about this hero. If you get jumped, you have waveform, and if you really want some other type of spell, you can simply turn into them, right? If you want to be a Mirana and steal her leaps, you have that. If you can turn into a Ember Spirit, you can steal his chains. If you're against a Medusa, you can turn into the Medusa and steal her mana. There are so many options when it comes to scaling a Morphling. He is one of the highest skill cap heroes, and this includes his skill cap into the late game. A Morphling with 6 items basically loses almost no man fights for the fact that he has 2 separate HP pools if he morphs into an enemy hero, easily making him one of the best late game heroes. Coming in at number 2, we have Spectre. Now, a lot of you might have assumed Spectre to be number 1, and in fact, you could definitely move Warden up as well. I just want to give as a side note, yeah, these heroes could be interchanged. In some games in particular, they might get kited, right? There might be a Pugna against a Troll, or a Storm Spirit against the Warden that makes this game very hard. Or the enemy team bought 5 Spirit Vessels, and Morphling can't shift to anything. But overall, what I want to say is that I think there's a number 1 carry that a lot of analyzers and cast members have agreed with in the past over other tournaments. But at number 2, we have Spectre, and let's break down why Spectre is so good in the late game. First off, what I want to say about Spectre is something a little bit different that it doesn't apply to the other heroes. Often the first item you buy is a big item. That is not too common. On a hero like Troll, you're going to see a lot of Wraith Bands and maybe a Yasha into Diffusal, into a Skullbasher, into a BKB, a lot of mini small items. But for Spectre, that's not the case, right? A Morphling is going to buy an E-Blade, and which gives him parts. He's also going to have a Wand, a Wraith Band, Treads. But for Spectre, you might buy some of these items. You might see the Soul Ring build that's becoming more and more common, but often the first item you're going to buy, after only 1 or maybe 2 small items, is instantly a Radiance. This is not too common on a hero that can't farm that fast, right? Spectre just naturally doesn't farm particularly fast compared to other heroes. So it's interesting that you buy such big items, and it's a massive reason why you do scale so quickly. So if you're going either a Meta or a Radiance, you're already setting yourself up to scale, right? Because you're going to have more slots for bigger items later into the game. This is a natural reason why Spectre scales, but now let's get into his skills and talents. So first off, Dispersion is a great ability for scaling. We talked about the mana potential and why it's so important for late game, and having a 22% damage reflect, whether or not it's spells or right click, is such a big deal. 22%, that's a huge number going into the late game, and is right there a top reason why this hero would be good. Now of course, Haunt is another reason, right? Haunt allows you to hit everyone, and if you do a lot of damage or have a Radiance or a Menta, you can choose any support you want. Now a problem going into the late game is a lot of people have Glimmers, they have Force Staffs, but if you have enough items, you can easily get on top of a target right off the bat, especially the key saving targets such as Oracle, and burst them down, which makes you super scary in the mid game. Not only that, you do at least 500 damage to all heroes as long as you have at least 1 item, and that's so significant. There's not much to say about that. You just do damage to everyone. It's great. In addition, having the ability to haunt in from any part of the map allows you to scale, right? If you never have to show up directly to a fight by sitting in the area or sitting in the trees or coming in a smoke gank, then you're going to naturally have more time to farm and get towards your bigger items. And this is a big benefit for Spectre, right? So if you have a Spectre, what I want to say is give him time to farm, split push, and set up kills on the opposite side of the map. If your Spectre is bottom, you don't necessarily want to go bottom, because then the whole enemy team is going to go bottom and contest this farm. Rather, you can go top, open up the bottom side of the map for Spectre, or vice versa, and allow him to haunt into a fight and clean up a few kills. This is optimal for heroes like Spectre or Warden, as we mentioned before. And finally, at number 1, the best late game carry in the majority of games is Phantom Lancer. Now I know Phantom Lancer isn't that popular right now. He's not. His early game is kind of weak. He can get countered out by heroes such as Ember Spirit, Leshrac, Pango. He definitely has his weaknesses right now. But your ability to scale into the late game is not hindered by the fact that you're necessarily a bad hero in the meta right now. His talents are some of the best scaling talents for the late game. The notorious level 25 talent, 1 OG at TI. I mean, obviously not. That's not it, guys. I mean, come on. That's not the only thing that won them TI. But when Ana hit 25 in that game as Phantom Lancer, the entire game turned around. This talent is one of the best late game talents in the game. In addition, his level 20 Phantom Rush range or +5 max Juxtapose illusions allows him to either close the gap on any target, basically ruining support games. I mean, it's almost unplayable if he's 3-slotted in terms of Diffusal Manta Heart and has this talent. You can't get away as a support. And then when he hits 25, it's even harder. You can't kill him and you can't get away from him. And that's super hard to deal with, right? It's just naturally hard to deal with him. He has 2 different dispels when he has Manta. The -6 second doppelganger cooldown makes him basically unkillable, and the items you build allows you to scale super hard. You naturally build Diffusal, which scales into the late game. Not a lot of heroes have this. If you buy Diffusal on a hero like Troll, it's great for the early game. Yeah, sure, it can burn mana in the late game, but it's not necessarily the best late game item for your hero. On PL, it scales into the 40, 50, 60 minute mark. You might replace it Giga later on for maybe something like a Bloodthorn, but still, a lot of heroes don't have this luxury of their first damage item or farming item also being their scaling late game damage item. In addition, illusion heroes are typically better in the late game, right? Spectre, Warden, Terrorblade is one I didn't put in this list but could be up there. Naga Siren. A lot of illusion heroes are very hard to deal with in the late game. Illusions are extremely easy to clear in the early game, but not so much in the late game when you start getting stats. So if you ever see any illusion hero, understand that there's a high chance they are very strong late game. PL just happens to be a very notable one due to his innate ability to have extreme amounts of mobility. He has probably the most mobility in the late game. And for supports, it's impossible to deal with. For cores, you can't even ever hit the real one, and that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this list of the top 5 safe lane heroes that scale into the late game. Let me know what you think. Let me know what heroes I missed. I understand I didn't include heroes like PA. I didn't put in Terrorblade, as I said. So let me know. Maybe they should be higher up on the list, or what you would swap around. I'd be happy to hear what you have to say, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, before I leave you, I just want to remind you that over at gameleap.com, you can check out guides just like this one, made by top tier pros. It will help you gain MMR faster, it will help you learn the game much more in depth, and overall, just increase the experience of your Dota gameplay, as you will crush your opponents simply by knowing more than them.